Hello everyone, I am Siddharthan. In this video, let's understand how we can connect to a MySQL database from Python and import a table to Pandas DataFrame. So in the previous videos, I have explained you how you can set up your MySQL server and MySQL workbench and work with the data in that MySQL database. And in this video, let's go one step ahead and work with this in Python so that we can use the data for data analysis and other stuff. So this will be the agenda for today's video and let's get started. So make sure that you have already installed MySQL server and MySQL workbench. If not, I'll give the link for those videos in my video description. You can look that for your reference. So once that installations are done, so open your MySQL workbench. So here you will see your local host. So we have this local instance of MySQL 80. Username is root and we have this local host 3306, which is the port number on which MySQL is running. So click here and then we will get connected to this. So it will prompt you to enter the root password, the password for the first time, and after that it will kind of open this database for you. So here you have this administration page, and then there is this schemas which has this different database. So we have this sample database called as a world and other things. And in the installation videos, I have explained you how you can import a CSV data. So I've loaded this diabetes dataset into a table in this particular thing, and I've showed you how you can extract the data. So now maybe let's just work with this sample data, which is this world, so that you have that in your machine. Okay, so let's assume that you have done the installation properly and you have these different tables like city, country, and so on in this world database. So that's what we are going to work on. So now I'll open my Jupyter notebook, and for this we need like few libraries to do this connection, to establish the connection from Python to MySQL, and then we can import our data. So the first step is to do a pip install of a few things. So I'll say pip install MySQL connector Python. So this is the library that's going to help us to connect to MySQL database, and then you can also install pandas in order to work with data frame. So Pandas data frames are like the widely used ones where we kind of load a CSV or a table data into this data frame and do some analysis and understanding of the data and even some cleaning process as well. So if you want to look at the latest version, you can just go to Google and search for MySQL connector PYPA, and there you can find the versions as well. So similarly do that for Pandas if you want the latest version. So that is all that we need. So we need pip install MySQL connector Python Pandas. So run this is going to install the libraries. So I've already installed this library, so it is saying requirement already satisfied. So for you, if you are running this for the first time, that's going to download and install these libraries. So now we can do the import statement. So I'll say import mysql.connector, or even I can just say from mysql import connector. And the other thing that we need is pandas. So import pandas as pd. Run this, and now we have to establish a connection. So I'll put a comment and say establish connection. So connection is equal to connector, which is something that we have imported in this import statement. So say connector.connect. So in the previous step, we can give the credentials of the database, which is host is equal to local host, because we are working on a local machine. If you are working on a remote database, remote server, you will provide that particular host details. And database is equal to, I'm going to work with this world database. So this is like one of the configured database that comes with this MySQL and MySQL workbench thing. So you can use this world database itself. So here I'll give the name of the database. If you want to give another database name, so this healthcare database is something that I have created, you can give that as well. So I'll just give world for now, put that in a string. So database should be this thing. And username, for me it's root. The both username and password is root, but you can use anything, the one that you have used while you're installing the MySQL server. You need to give that particular username and password. For password, I'll say root as well. So now in the connection we have to pass these details. So I'll say host is equal to, this host is like the parameter we need to pass for this connect, but this is the same name that we have used here. So I'll just copy this and paste it. And the next one is database. Database is equal to database, and the user is equal to, again, same user. And finally password is equal to password. So instead of assigning this earlier in the variable, you can also put this there, but for better convention, I'm just like putting this in the variable and later using this. So this is the connection string that we have. And now you can write, okay, so name host is not defined. So I have to run this. So I'll run this cell and run this one. So this has established the connection. So now I can write a SQL query and load the data through that SQL query to my pandas. So I'll say query is equal to select asterisk. That means select everything from the table. So we would be currently connected to the table world, and that particular database has three tables: city, country, and country language. So these are the three things that we have. So I'll just say city. So select everything from city. So this is the SQL query, run this. Now we can pass this query and the connection string to the data frame, pandas data read SQL thing. So I'll say df is equal to pd dot read SQL, and to this pass your query comma connection. So this will use that MySQL connection that we have and use this, run this query and extract the data. So this is for load the data to pandas data frame. So run this. So it's giving a warning saying that user warning. Pandas only supports SQL Alchemy connection, engine or connection or database string URI or SQLite 3. So it's just like kind of a warning message saying that it's better if you use this SQL Alchemy. So this kind of worked, but that's just a warning. So let's maybe complete this current implementation and also try SQL Alchemy, which is like another good option for this. So this has already loaded the data to this variable called as df. So now I can just print df.it. So that would give you the first 5 rows of the table city. So we have ID, name, country code, district, population, and so on. So this is how you can extract the data from a MySQL databases table to pandas data frame. So once you are done with this, you can close the connection because the connection is still open there. So for that, you can just say connection.close, the connection that we have created earlier. So in this specific part, so I'll just say connection.close, but that data frame will still be there. So I can just say data df.810 because we have already loaded this, so this won't get lost. So we are just closing the connection, but the data that we pulled already will still be there. Okay, so the next thing that we can do is use SQL Alchemy to do this data extraction part. So let's try that one because like that's a better recommended approach. So let's use that library as well. So here I'll say pip install SQL Alchemy. So this is the name of the library, SQL Alchemy. So run this. So again, install this library. So this is going to say requirement already satisfied. So for import statement, say from SQL Alchemy, import create engine. Next is we need to set up this engine with the connection string. So for that, I'll say engine is equal to create engine that we have imported from SQL Alchemy. And here we need to pass a string. So that string would be 1 second. So we can like use the previous host and the username details that we have created before. So maybe I'll scroll up and show you. So we have this host database username and password, right? We can use this one itself. So within this create engine, you can use this f string that's going to substitute few details. So within this f, I'll say MySQL. So make sure that you have installed all these MySQL connector and SQL Alchemy and so on so that this works. So first we say MySQL plus MySQL connector. Okay, so MySQL plus MySQL connector. Put a colon, double forward slash, and within your curly braces, we are going to replace first is our username. Okay, so username is user, password, database, and host. So we are going to use that. So I'll say user colon again curly braces. So whatever you're putting within this curly braces will be replaced with this variable value of host database and so on, as we are using this f before the string. So the next thing is password. at host. Again, this also comes within this curly braces, colon, curly braces, port. So port should be for SQL, MySQL, right? So the port is 3302, sorry, 3306. Maybe let's add that here as well. And finally, we can say forward slash database. So the database that we have created. So maybe I'll copy this entire thing again, paste it here along with the port. I'm creating a new cell and saying host. So we have this username as root, password as root, and then we have this host, port, and database, right? Let me put that in that particular order. So username, password, host is localhost, and port should be 3306. And database is world. So that's okay. So we say f MySQL plus MySQL connector colon double forward slash user password at host port database. So this is the create engine. Run this. Port is not defined, so I have to run the previous cell. So I must double quote. Okay, so now we have created the engine, and similar to the place where we have established this connection, we are going to do a similar thing. So I'll just say connection is equal to engine dot connect. I'll run this. So the connection has been established successfully. So here I'll name this data frame as data and say pd.read SQL. I can use the same query, but let me just copy and paste this again so that it's easy for you to look at this query in this case. So I'll say read SQL query comma connection, and finally again you can print the first 10 rows or the number of rows that you want, and you can look at the data. So this is how you can import your data using the library called as SQL Alchemy. So the concept is pretty simple. So either you can use this library of MySQL connector, or you can use SQL Alchemy, and the important aspect that it's going to require you for is the credentials, so the username, password, host details, database, and so on. And after that we need the query for which we are going to download the data set or the table from that particular database. So there is a database, and within that there is a table. So we are accessing this world database, and within that we are accessing the city table. You can also work with different database or different tables that's present in this database, and then we can use this read SQL. So you, if you have worked on Python and Pandas, you would have seen the read CSV, but here we can use this read SQL because we are passing a SQL query. So this is how you can connect to this database and extract the data. So I hope everyone is clear until this point. So that is all from my side, and I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.